Qatar Amir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani's recent New Delhi visit was an extraordinary success by all standards. That was simply an unqualified success. Media, diplomatic experts, and even political analysts were surprised at the warmth shown by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Sheikh Tamim. When Sheikh Tamim arrived at the airport, Prime Minister Narendra Modi broke all protocols and went there to receive him. Moreover, Prime Minister Narendra Modi termed Qatar Amir his brother, and Qatar reciprocated also. The joint statement issued by Qatar and India after discussions reflect the resolve of Qatar to strengthen the trade ties between two countries. What are the important developments that happened during the visit of Qatar Amir in India? And another important fact is, there had been some irritants in the traditionally strong India-Qatar ties in the recent past. But of course, those irritants were removed, and the relationship was cemented last year when Prime Minister Narendra Modi went there. But still, this visit reiterated the friendly relations and took it to a different level. For example, the traditionally strong bonds friendship bond was upgraded into a bilateral strategic relation. What could be the reason for this upswing in India Qatar ties? When especially India has got very friendly ties with the UAE and even with Saudi Arabia. So let's get to the bottom of the whole issue. Welcome to Insights. I am Hari Kumar. So let's begin with the traditional ties of India and Qatar. Actually, there is no room for surprise in the way by which Prime Minister Narendra Modi received Qatar Amir. When the earlier things were not so friendly or not so favorable with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Qatar Amir was one of the first Gulf rulers to visit India. After Prime Minister Narendra Modi took charge as Prime Minister, in 2015 itself, Qatar Amir paid a visit to India. And in 2016, Prime Minister Narendra Modi reciprocated. He went to Qatar, he visited Qatar also. So, the relationship had not been bad earlier, but some irritants had came into the relations at some point. That was true. In around, I think that was in 2023 or 22, eight Indian Indian Navy personnel, ex-Navy personnel, were arrested in Qatar on espionage charges. They were put in jail, and not only that, a Qatar court sentenced them to death. That was unheard of. That raised many doubts and apprehensions in India. Many people expressed the fear that the traditionally strong India Qatar ties are going to suffer permanently. But that doubts were cleared when Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Qatar in 2024. They were pardoned and let free. So that was a great achievement for Prime Minister Narendra Modi personally, and that actually removed the irritants in relationship, removed doubts also. If you look back, Qatar and India had very good relations in the past also. I think it was in 2006 that Qatar and India signed a defense partnership, and Qatar's military personnel got an opportunity to study in India's defense military colleges, etc. And when it comes to ensuring the energy security of India, Qatar plays a great role. Qatar is the largest supplier of liquefied natural gas (LNG) to India. And in 2024, actually during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit, an agreement was signed between two countries to ensure LNG to India at moderate rates. Many analysts have concluded that India saved around 6 billion US dollars by engaging into a long term agreement with Qatar on natural gas. For Qatar also that is an advantage. India is actually one of the biggest consumers of energy in the world. In fact, India is second only to China. Nowadays, there is no shortage of crude oil or petroleum products because India has proved that India can buy, being one of the biggest buyers in the world, India can buy petroleum products, including natural gas, from many countries. For example, India bought that from Russia in the recent years at a discounted rate. Then now India has promised to buy natural gas and crude from the United States also. So that's the situation. Both countries are going to benefit. That's a win win situation for both. And when it comes to investment, many people are actually tempted to think that India benefits from the investment of Gulf countries and not vice versa. But that is totally false perception. India is actually one of the biggest investors in Qatar. India, 15,000, as many as 15,000 Indian companies are there in Qatar. So you know the level of involvement of India in the economy of Qatar. And whether it is in the transportation, whether it is in the exploration, India is now a force to reckon with. So just simply avoiding India doesn't make sense for any Middle East country. And Qatar also knows that very well. And when it comes to strategic affairs, you know, uh, Qatar has got a presence of different organizations. For example, Taliban has got a representative there. Then Hamas has got a representative there. In the current geopolitics, no country can refuse to engage with even any group, whatever may they be. So, actually, engaging with a particular group is not considered to be wrong in the current geopolitics. And considering all those facts, strengthening the relationship between Qatar actually gives India an opportunity also. So I think all those aspects might have been in the mind of Prime Minister Narendra Modi when he extended an extraordinary friendship to Sheikh Tamim. In the joint communique issued by both countries after the end of discussions, it contained many important steps. For example, Qatar is going to invest 10 billion US dollars in India, and Qatar Investment Authority has promised to open an office in India. And Qatar and India are now on talks for a free trade agreement also. So Qatar Trade Minister Commerce Minister actually expressed the hope that India-Qatar relationship will result in India becoming a hub of business and Qatar also becoming a hub of business. And moreover, he invited investment from top Indian businessmen in Qatar also. And when it comes to other things, strengthening, other steps have been taken to strengthen ties. Then to Qatar is eager to make use of India's progress on various fronts like space, healthcare, etc. And I'm sure that in the coming days, both the countries are going to do a lot about. Then India and Qatar have expressed their resolve to fight terrorism. There is an agreement for information sharing also. Every country in the world is apprehensive about the rise of terror. Though Qatar may have given or allowed certain groups, for example, Taliban or Hamas, to open their offices or allowed their leaders to stay there, they are careful also. They know that if you give them freedom beyond the limit, then that's going to backfire. Another important aspect we need to remember is that Qatar houses perhaps the biggest base of United States, military base of United States in the Middle East. So, if you consider all those factors, then having a strategic partnership with Qatar is going to benefit India, and Qatar as a country cannot avoid India. Qatar actually, Qatar may have a high per capita income, but the economy of Qatar is, or the GDP of Qatar is around 600 billion US dollar only, and Indian economy is a far bigger economy. India has got a huge talented work pool. For example, around 8 lakh Indian workers, professionals are there in Qatar. The quality of workers from India has changed in the recent years. India is not a supplier of blue collar workers. India supplies white collar workers. So, Qatar might have considered all those aspects while deciding to strengthen the ties. And anyway, this recent visit of Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani has catapulted India Qatar relations to a new level. And hope both countries are going to benefit out of it. Meet you with another topic next time. Till then, goodbye.